Okay, welcome back to the Board Game Closet. My name's Jimmy.
I'm Rod.
And today we're going to give you our top 10 cheap games for Christmas.
Yes. Oh.
So kind of our parameters for this video is like cheap. It's kind of, relative. I don't know what you consider cheap, what you consider cheap, but we're saying at least maybe like 40 bucks and under.
Right. Inexpensive.
Somewhat inexpensive. Some of these are going to be under 20. Some of these are going to be at the top of 40, but this is going to give you a good list if you're trying to find something cheap to add to the cart and get it sent off for a Christmas gift. We're going to give you 10 games.
Fantastic. Let's do it.
All right, you go first. What do you got, man?
So number one I'm going to do is The Mind.
The Mind,
now,
yeah.
You can already tell we play this one a lot because we got it wrapped up with rubber bands basically and everything. But this is a neat game.
Yeah, it is good.
I'm not sure, do you remember playing it before?
Oh, yeah.
So it is, it's a game where you can't talk. You're not supposed to give any facial
No
expressions
signals.
and stuff. And you think it's going to be an impossible game to play, and you're playing with best player, of course, is at least 4 people. I don't think you can do a 2-player. I'm not sure about that, but anyway, it was so entertaining. And then you begin to, you're not using psychic abilities, but it's pretty amazing.
Your mind starts working together.
Exactly.
The mind, yeah.
So I was very impressed with this game. My son bought it.
Yeah.
I didn't have any inkling of what he was getting, and just love the little game. It's a nice little game, great for the stocking.
Yeah, I think I think you could give this to somebody and on Christmas Day pull that out and just have a great memory of the experiencing the mind.
The Mind. Go get it.
All right, my number 2 is Scout. This is a perfect, this will completely fit right in the stocking. And this is a relatively cheap game, maybe about 24 bucks if you buy it on Amazon. I think that there's a Target version of this as well, but this is a great, fun filler card game that plays up to 5 people, which is great, about 20 minutes, not a long game. But the cool part about it is you deal cards to everybody. They look at their cards and you tell them don't rearrange them. So you're so used to playing cards and putting all the cards together. On this one, you can't. And they call it a ladder climbing game because you're going to play cards out onto the table, and then the next person has to play something better than that. They have to go higher than you or better cards than what you played. And so it's just a fun little game of trying to figure out when you're going to play your cards or when you're going to pass and steal cards from somebody else. Highly recommend Scout. It is worth the investment.
Very neat.
Cheap investment.
The Lord of the Rings Journey to Mordor.
Oh, okay. I remember that one.
This is a very nice game. I mean, first of all, it's inexpensive. Fits right into it should fit into most stockings.
Yes.
Good. But it's 2 to 4 player game, dice chucking basically, and you're just trying to get your characters moved from A to B to C to D, and it's just a fun little game that kept the theme going well. A lot of times the games it's like you didn't even know they had a theme on it.
Is this Lord of the Rings?
Exactly. Yeah. I love Lord of the Rings. So go get it. It's wonderful.
Go get it. Okay, my next one is called No Thanks. This is a great game. I've got it in a different box. It's not the original one, but it comes with these little tokens. Everybody gets these tokens, and this is a lowest scoring game. So you're trying to get the lowest score. You pass out, or you take cards, and then on your turn you have to decide, do I want to take the card that's out there and put it in front of me, or do I want to pass? And if you pass, you say no thanks. And then pretty soon all these tokens are going to get piled up on that card, and somebody's going to be tempted by this card because these are worth negative points at the end of the game. And so you can get these and collect them and then have negative points. But then these little tokens also give you the ability to pass on cards, which is really important. Because if you get a really high number card and you don't have any of these left, then you just have to take it. And so it's a fun little game, plays pretty quick, easy to teach to people, definitely fits in the stocking stuffer category. Highly recommend No Thanks.
That is a great little game, I'll have to admit. I mean, same thing, went into that game not knowing what it was about and everything. The only thing, I do hate the game also because I always end up with the most of those pieces. Because I'm always getting risky and trying to risk it. That never works.
And then you get stuck.
Exactly.
And there's like this great thing in this game where you try to see if it'll go around one more time.
Right.
Because like the things will start to pile up and you say, I'm not going to take it. And then somebody ends up taking it and then you're stuck with no tokens. It's fun.
That is a great game. It is. It's a lot of fun. All right, so my number 3 is going to be One Night Werewolf.
Social Deduction.
Yes, that is, again, this is the type of game I stayed away from until I started playing with this group of players, and I love it.
Yeah.
I mean, you got an app that's
Yeah.
for it, so everything's happening. It's got the app itself creates a great atmosphere for the game. And there's tons of expansions for it, which I'm a big fan of expansions. And it's just a wonderful game, party game. You can play up to, I think, what, 10, 12 people. It's a lot of people. So, I mean, that to me, anytime you can play a fun game up to that many people, then it's well worth it. It goes up to 10 people.
10 people.
So 3 to 10 people. We got to hold this up right because we're upside down every time. But go out there and get this one. You'll enjoy it.
Yeah, it's a great game, yeah. Okay, next one is the Star Wars deck building game. Now, keep in mind, this is a 2-player only game, so that might break it for some people right away. But this is probably my favorite small box deck building game that is just a fun experience. And when I first got this, I wasn't expecting much out of it, but then we started playing and it just clicks. This is such a cool little game, pretty inexpensive. I forget how much it is, but if you like deck building games and you like Star Wars, this is a must-have. It might push the boundaries of a stocking stuffer, but the price won't break the bank.
That's right, in Star Wars. Hey.
Yeah, there you go.
So my next one was one that we won at one of the local game fairs, or what do you want to call it, and it was Project L.
Oh, so good.
Didn't know anything about it. This is such a neat little game.
It really is.
It reminds me of Tetris, and it comes with quality pieces, and it's very competitive. It is a fun little game, and you know what? I haven't met a person yet that has played the game that did not like the game. It is this is one that, and they have tons of expansions also, but this is one that's really surprised me. It's very colorful. Like I said, it looks like Tetris almost. You're just trying to collect the cards and collect the points and when to gamble on that too. And it's just it's a nice game. Very nice game.
I love it because you're collecting these pieces. You build the puzzle, but then you keep your pieces. So it's almost like an engine building Tetris game where I'm collecting all these pieces and I need all these different shapes so that I can fulfill other puzzles. That is just a cool feature of this game.
Yeah, it's a wonderful game. I highly suggest it for anybody.
My next one, I'm on a 2-player game, a 2-player only game Kick. And so the Sky Team, this is such a cool concept of a game. So you and another player, me and Rod, we're trying to land a plane. And you do it with dice. And so you've got these dice that you've rolled and you're trying to figure out where you want to play them to balance them out. So we're trying to keep our wings, level. We're trying to make sure we're coming in at the right speed. We're trying to make sure that our landing gear gets down. And it's all as you are getting closer and closer to crashing into the ground. It's just such a cool concept of a game. And not only is it just like that by itself is cool, but then it's kind of like, it's not a campaign game, but there are like, what do you call it? Where there's like scenarios.
Legacy type setup for it?
No, it's not a legacy. It's like a scenario. So now you've got another scenario of another airport that you're trying to land at, and this one's harder, and it gets more difficult. There are some like envelopes that you're going to be opening in the game, but it's not really legacy. It's just more like, what's the next thing? And now here's another thing that we're going to have to think about. Just cannot recommend this game enough. It is so much fun. Pick up Sky Team.
Very neat. All right, so number 5 is a military game.
Hey.
So it's Dogfight. Now, this one I held off buying because, first of all, I love war games. And when I had seen this one, I was thinking, well, it looks a little too basic. It looks a little bit, looks like too much of a party game, I guess. And it actually is. But you know what? It is a very neat little game. It's a 2-player game. You're trying to, basically dogfighting. You got each person has a plane, and they're trying to shoot down the other one. And it is a fun little. It's a very, very fun game. I just highly suggest this. Again, I'm very much about tactical games, but this game right here, I just love it. It's just a nice little game, 2-player, competitive, but not overly competitive. Great game.
I haven't played it. We got to play it.
Oh yeah, definitely.
2-player. Like, well, let's go.
Yeah, definitely. It's an awesome game.
It sounds awesome. Okay, my last recommendation is Dice Miner.
Yes,
and
good
this is probably pushing the realm on our cheap game. I forget what this one costs. I'm hoping it's under 40 because that's what we kind of sold it as. So maybe you have to get it on sale, but this is a great, great dice game. And so what I love about this is it's a tower. You actually have a mine or a mountain that you're going to be drafting dice off the mountain to use. And what's great about it is you get these dice and then you go on to the next round, and then you keep your dice. And so you get to, I don't know what the right term is for this kind of game, but basically you just keep your dice from round to round and get to do more with them as the game progresses. It's got a cool little solo player version of this. The group game is great, really easy to teach, and just pulling dice out of the mine is just cool.
No, that's a fun game right there. I thoroughly enjoy that one.
So there you go. There are 10 relatively inexpensive games we can recommend for Christmas.
Yep. Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas.
All right.